Today I have a talk with the very talented actor Gino Montesinos. Since over 20 years he works in the film industry and he gained a lot of experiences. Gino played roles in films and series, for example Shameless, Dexter, Chicago Med, Atypical and many more. Hi Gino, I'm very delighted to welcome you as my interview guest today, so thank you for coming. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Carolyn. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Gino, you're a very talented man. I mean, beside acting, you have so many talents like dancing, writing, martial arts, and you can speak 4 different languages fluently. That's very impressive, but how do you manage all your acting career with your talents?
You know, I'm a very focused person, and I sort of just basically my hobbies is kind of like sad in a way. I'm very focused, or some Americans call it A-type personality or obsessive or something. And so pretty much everything that I do is somehow for forwarding my acting career. You know, like I'm studying Arabic and reviewing French because I'm interested in playing Algerians and Moroccans and stuff like that. Many people tell me that I look like an Arabic person. I'm sure. I'm originally from South America. I'm sure that I have Arabic blood because the Arabic and the Spanish and where my mother's from, Barranquilla, Colombia, is a huge Lebanese population, and I'm sure that I'm maybe part Arabic. So and you know, languages are, for example, just a hobby of mine, and I incorporate into the acting. Same thing with martial arts. The same thing with dancing. They were hobbies of mine. As a child, I learned Shotokan karate, Hakuryu jiu-jitsu, Filipino stick fighting, stuff like that as a hobby. And then, it's perfect for acting. Yeah.
So, during your acting career, you came a lot around the world. I mean, you were part of many theater plays in different countries. So would you like to tell us some stories, some experience from this time?
Sure. I've worked in theater in Mexico, Italy, England. Where else? England, Italy, Mexico, Dominican Republic. Big plays. I did West Side Story in the Dominican Republic. I did, Shakespeare in England, and I did Commedia dell'arte in the north of Italy, in Vicenza, in a 500-seat theater. That when we performed, we'd have firemen with a full hoses ready in case the theater sets on fire because the wood was 500 years old. So, it was really kind of exciting, and it was great because we got to work with Dario Fo, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 90-something for all his plays in Italian. He was crazy. He was wonderful. But my favorite theatrical performance was I was in Mexico City performing in front of 11,000 people. And when I got on stage, they started screaming. And the vocal energy pushed back my body. So I was going like that, just from vocal energy, 11,000 people. And it wasn't the breath, it was the vocal energy. And it was the best, to me, the highlight of my career so far. It was just awesome.
So, Gino, now you have seen a lot of the industry and you told us some great stories about your work as an actor. But on the other side, have you ever been confronted with the downsides of the industry?
Try every day. I calculated in my career, my 20-year career, I've probably gone out on between 2,000 and 3,000 auditions. I kid you not. I don't know anybody in any part of society because basically when you audition, you're applying for a job. Most people in society, if they they have less than 100 interviews in their life. That's saying a lot. You take a job, you work for 3-4 years. You take another job, you work for 10 years. Not in Hollywood. I mean, so I'm approaching 100 union jobs, which is great. In 20 years, 5 union jobs a year in terms of film, television, theater, and voiceovers. I'm approaching 100. I may have reached it. I'm not quite sure. So I've worked. I mean, I've done well. So I've passed 100 job interviews. Yeah. But that means that I shouldn't say fail, but I didn't get 1,900 job interviews. Yeah. Do you follow? So that's takes its toll. It's challenging to live with that. And recently, I've had a great realization from a wonderful casting director friend of mine. I was being rejected by. I was doing chemistry reads for series regulars. I've done chemistry reads for leads in films. Do you know what chemistry reads are? Chemistry read is basically it's a second callback. You audition, you get a callback, meet the producers. You come to a second callback in which they have different actors. They have maybe 3 actors for part A, 3 actors for part B, 3 actors for part C, and they mix and match. And basically, they're trying to see where the chemistry between the actors is greatest. And I've had 3 of them in the past 6 months for big parts. I'm up for 2 movies now. And then I didn't get them, and I went really unhappy and sad, and oh, this is crazy. Should I change careers? This is too difficult. And a casting director who was a really prominent casting director, a friend of mine, told me, I wrote to her the whole thing, and she emailed me back. She said, you're actually closer than you think. You're getting really close. And then look, I just booked the NCIS. What I want you to do now is I want you to sort of not have such an attachment to outcome. Gotta have this. And once I let that go, my perspective changed, and I booked this thing right away. So I think any young actor interested in acting has to know that rejection is a part of the business. And I read Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, was rejected many times. I mean, we all go like, are you crazy? But she wasn't a big star until Wonder Woman, right? I just read Chloe Moretz was being rejected a lot because she's too famous. So first you get rejected because you're not famous enough, and then you get rejected when you're too famous. It's just part and parcel of our job. And the thing I think that has helped me to handle that is focus on the things I can control. I can control how I look like. I can control my performance. I can control how nice of a person I am. I can control how prepared I am. I can control probably 100 things. Or the actor, not just me, the actor. The one thing that the actor cannot control, unless you're a legend like Sylvester Stallone, who controls everything, and they're like 0.1% of the industry, right? 5 people, 10 people, actors. The thing to do is there's only one thing you can't control, and you have to accept that you can't control that. And that's when you do your audition as best as you can. And once it's done, and they say thank you, forget about that audition. Didn't happen. Go, hang out with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, go surfing, do whatever it is that you do as a human being to relax, to forget about it, go to Vegas and, do your thing, whatever, go see Cirque du Soleil or whatever. And you accumulate, like I said, dozens and dozens and hundreds of auditions. I did 20 auditions in 2 weeks, right? I booked one of them, NCIS, right? I have 2 pending. The other 18 I didn't get, or the other 17 I didn't get. I may not get these 2 movies. I am now focused. All I'm focused right now is, okay, I'm a guest star on NCIS. I'm the equivalent of a series regular for the week. I have a big part. I'll be rehearsing the part, and I'm going to my acting class at 1 p.m. at the Acting Center to rehearse my part, etc. And that's what I really recommend to actors. If they don't do that, they risk getting burnt out, risk getting bitter, and it would be a shame.
So, Gino, now you told from auditions, and I mean, auditions are a common thing when you want to become an actor and actress. And like you told us, you have many experience in this. So, would you like to tell us how auditions here in Hollywood are running?
Sure. Well, I only deal with there's two worlds in Hollywood. There's like the non-union self-audition, like an actor who is new, doesn't know, doesn't have an agent, doesn't have representation or manager, and uses what's called Actors Access to submit himself, or LA Casting. That world, I don't know. I haven't seen that world in 20 years. I have nothing to do with that world. I can tell you about the A game. The A game is basically all union jobs, SAG-AFTRA jobs. They go exclusively through your manager, your agent. You basically, what happens is, for a newer actor, you get what are called pre-reads. The casting director likes your look, maybe likes your resume, and is interested in you for the part, but she wants to check you out first. Then she calls you back to meet the producers. And then you come back and you're put on tape for the producers, and then they say, like, they ask maybe 15 actors for your job, and then they bring back 6, maybe 5 or 6 for the producers. Maybe out of those 5 or 6, what just happened with NCIS, you get pinned. Pinned means that they literally hang your picture on the wall as with the rest of the cast. So I was pinned with 4 other actors. The NCIS audition was tough. I mean, I was in a room not much bigger than what we're interviewing here, with 3 producers, a director, 3 casting assistants, a camera person, and a reader. And you got to go. And so thank God that I prepared really, really a lot. And I was in the moment before I even sat in the chair. I was half into character, so I snapped into character instantaneously. And then I was in character talking to the guy, and it wasn't Gino talking. It was the character talking, and that wasn't a casting director. That was the guy who's gonna, I can't give it away, but our scene. And finally, everybody's laughing in the room, and this is a drama. So anytime in a drama, when people are laughing, you're doing good. You're doing really, really good. Or vice versa, in a comedy, if people are not laughing and they're really thinking about what you're saying, you're doing really good. I studied with a great teacher, Jeffrey Tambor. He just won like 2 or 3 Emmys for Best Comedy, and his concept was serious comedy. And, and I also studied at the American Repertory Theater, where my first Oscar winner I worked with was Mark Rylance, who won the Oscar for The Russian Spy in Bridge of Spies with Spielberg, directed by Spielberg. He just was in Dunkirk. If you saw Dunkirk, he's the father and the captain. Incredible actor. And one thing I learned was we did Hamlet, which is a tragedy, and there was a lot of humor in it. And then we do comedy, and we're all laughing. All of a sudden, oh my God. So I think, as an actor, if you're interested in greatness, do that. And then getting back to the process goes, you go and you're pinned, and then the other producers get to look at you, and then maybe 1 or 2 names go to network. Because when the part is big, like I have what's called a guest star. A guest star and above goes to the network. So the network is probably anywhere from 10 to 20 executives who are not necessarily artistic, they're business people, but they're looking at the sort of commercial aspect of your presentation. And you as an actor can't think of that. All you can do is bring the truth as you know to that character to life, and not worry about all these other aspects. But one thing that many casting directors and my managers and my agents have told me is, Gino, please don't take it personally that you're being passed over. There's so many opinions picking the person who gets the job. I'm not going to say who, literally, a 2-time Oscar-nominated director have his casting director tell my manager, Gino was obviously the best actor for the role, but we're interested in his character being a mousy, little weaselly kind of guy. I'm built like a football player. So, and then for another part, again, I'm not going to say which show, I look like a big fighter guy, right? And the creator of the show his mouth is open. I probably spent a week rehearsing this part. That's why it was good. It's not like I'm more talented than anybody, but I suspect that I work harder than most actors.
Yeah.
And that's why when I go to an audition, I'm really good.
Yeah.
Because you work at it. I mean, whatever job you're doing, if you work hard at it, you'll be good at it. And the guy literally said to me, you really captured the pathos and the tragedy. Pathos is the sort of the sadness and the hurt. This is a tragedy. And he's the lead of the series.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, great, right? No callback. They pick another actor who, with all due respect, had no pathos, no tragedy. They fired him. And then they opened it up to me again. And then they wouldn't see me. And it's like, it was very hard and frustrating. And you know what? The lesson that I learned, and I pass on to actors watching this, is you can't let, I don't care if they've been nominated for the Oscar twice, or they're represented by CAA or whoever. It doesn't matter. I don't care how famous they are. I don't care how inexperienced they are. It is not your job or your concern to control their opinion. All you can control is you do this wonderful, wonderful performance in the room, and that's it.
How do you define the word success, and what means success for you, for your career, for your life?
That's a great question. Great question. I'll be honest with you. I started in this business when I was 12. I was pro by the time I was 16. It was millions of dollars and Oscars and beautiful women. Okay? I make a joke and I say, I actually joined the wrong business. I should have been a rock star. I should have been a musician. I was at the Greek Theater and I saw a show last night, Adam Ant from the 80s. It was really interesting. I didn't know anything about him. And that was what I think. And now after, 20 years really being in the trenches, being on many red carpets, befriending many stars, it's about being happy. It's about being happy with what you're doing right now and really enjoying what you're doing. I'm having a ball talking to you ladies. This is just a joyful experience for me. I'm going to wrap up now in 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to have a nice breakfast and read my script and really enjoy that. And ironically, I think that'll get me the millions of dollars and the Oscar. Do you follow?
Yeah.
I think when I was focusing on the millions of dollars and the Oscars, I was so far away. And now that I've sort of said, oh, this is harder than I thought. Okay. I better not focus on the millions of dollars and the Oscars. And these painful rejections have taught me that, no, focus on what you're doing. So now I'm going to go to my acting class at 1 o'clock and I'm going to rehearse for 5 hours. And sometimes rehearsal is boring and not interesting, and then eventually you find that spark. Yeah. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing then. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow I go to the table read with Mark Harmon and all these huge stars. Yeah. I'm going to be terrified. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you. Yeah. I've been to many, many table reads. Mm-hmm. They always terrify me. Yeah. Right? I'm going to enjoy and be happy with the terror of that moment. And work with Wilmer Valderrama. He was the star of that 70s show. He's now the star that I'll be working with. And be terrified of meeting him. And so that's what I would recommend to people, to try it out and not focus so much on the glamour. The other thing I want to say is I came into this business for glamour. Like I said, millions of dollars, Oscars, women. Beautiful women. The most beautiful women in the world. It's my thing. whatever. That won't sustain you. Because two of my best friends, one is a doctor, one is a lawyer. They're each worth in excess of between $50 and $100 million apiece. Personal friends of mine. One guy's a lawyer, has won $1.2 billion for his clients. My personal friend. We grew up together. He's a family friend, I should say, really. Another family friend has got 10 doctor's offices. Each one is doing several million each. So he's clocking $20 million gross a year, easy. His house is bigger than this restaurant. These two guys taught me something, especially the doctor. He says, you're impressed by my money. Like, I'm completely impressed by your money. He says, you know what? Bottom line, this really doesn't turn me on. What turns me on is I'm interested in medicine. It interests me intellectually, and I love my wife and children. And that was a really big lesson. So that's what I say.
So now we are at the end of our interview. Thank you very much to Gino, and thank you very much to you who was watching this video. I hope you like it, and if you like it, please don't forget to like, to share, or to subscribe. We would be very happy. And so I hope you see us by the next interview from ImPerfection, the way to success. So have a great day, and bye bye.